Hi everyone. I want to talk about my first time where I astral projected. So it was when my uncle had died in 2019. I was asleep in bed, and the important part of the story is my daughter at the time was sleeping in the bed with us as well. So anyway, if you have never astral projected, it is the most insane feeling. I can't even quite explain, and I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but for me, it is just this rush of energy. It's like a carnival ride where you just get shot up into the air, or like sideways. It's like a carnival ride, where it's like shoots you up real fast or like swings you really fast, but it's different in the essence of there's no fear. It's just like this rush of energy. It is crazy because your body is still, but it's like the rush of energy. So anyway, so I'm asleep, right? I'm dreaming, and all of a sudden I am in this room, and there are this like fabric, like swatches, like a bunch of scarves just hanging down in a circle in the middle of the room, all different colors. And I go into the center of these. And so I'm surrounded, right? And I just start going like that, in a circle, just standing and circling around, like just moving through the scarves with my hand. And I start going like faster and faster. And then all of a sudden I'm thrown back, and I'm just like, I guess I was lifted up first and thrown back. And it's just gone like that. It was crazy. And then I am coming down into the center of a room, the corner of it, not the center, but the corner. And I'm coming down and I'm facing the corner. So I can't see anything but that corner. And I'm coming down, my feet hit, and I know that as soon as I turn around, my uncle is going to be there. And I'm like a hologram in this room, okay? My arms are to my side. I have no control over individual limbs or my head. I'm literally like a hologram. And so I'm just standing there, and my body slowly starts to turn around. And sure enough, my uncle was in the corner of the room, like in a doorway. And this room was incredibly sterile looking. It was just all white. And there was like only one, it was like one, like a cement slab that was kind of in the middle of the room, almost like a half wall. So he like walked, and there was like a cement slab, and I'm over here. I don't know what it was. It almost reminded me like if I was in like a hospital, like the morgue or something, they put a body. I don't know. It was just very sterile and very white. So anyway, so I turn around, and the first thing he says was, "Hi, Jenny." And I just said, "Hi, Uncle Kenny." And he asked me, "Can you talk, or can you sit?" And I said, "Yes." So like I said, no control. And my body gets lifted up, my legs get folded into the sitting position, and then I get lowered back down. And he starts talking to me. And I tell him, I said, "Well, but you're dead." And he's like, "I know. There was a lot of things that were going on with me and I was just done. I couldn't do it anymore. I was done." And he died unexpectedly, very suddenly. He went into cardiac arrest. He had some blood clots, I believe, in his legs. He was having trouble walking and stuff. And then as soon as our conversation ended, which there was a lot more to it, but briefly summarizing, as soon as our conversation ended, this brilliant white light, pretty much where he had entered at in the room, was there. And it got brighter and brighter and brighter, and just like the room, right? And right as it got to me, I once again got thrown back, and I'm moving fast, and I have my eyes open, and it's almost like I'm in a hospital, like the corridor of a hospital, and there's like lights above me, and but I'm like that close to the lights, right? And so I'm like, I see these like lights. It was like strobe effect right above my head, my face. And then I'm flat, and I can see this spinning right above me. I'm like really that close to it. Just this spinning right above me. And then I'm like slowly lowered down. And then all of a sudden I open my eyes. And that's when I wake up in bed. First thing I see when I open my eyes is the ceiling fan spinning above me. So anyway, literally as soon as I opened up my eyes, my daughter went, ah! That was scary. And you could hear the, I can't say fear, but the unexpected, caught off guard, scary in her voice. And I jumped right up in bed, right? Because I'm already awake. I had already opened my eyes up, and then she said that. And she's like, I just saw Uncle Kenny was just kneeling at my bedside, telling me bye. So that was a very crazy situation. That was the first time I had ever done that. And that I thought maybe it was gonna be the last time. I've been trying to no avail. Then last week at around 3 a.m. I have a dream, and it was early in the morning that this happened. So, and I'm saying it's about 3 because when I came to, when I looked at my watch, it was like 3:15. So, but anyway, so I'm in this giant room. It's almost like a church just because of the way it's shaped. But it's just this large opening, and it had these, it peaked up like that, and huge, oh my God, like insanely high ceilings. And it was like this beautiful, beautiful architecture. And mind you, I am looking for a new spot for my business, and that's exactly what we need. We need a wide open space with very tall ceilings because we offer imaginative play, but we also have bounce houses. Bounce houses require ceiling heights. So anyway, so in my dream, I see this ceiling and I automatically think, wow, like this would be perfect, right? And there's this princess castle in the middle of the room, which to me was like our pretend play. And that's, I walked over to, and there was other people in this room. And you can open up the princess castle, you know, like one of the big doll houses, you open up and you can play inside. And there's like a little stool, because there was like a little beauty boutique that someone was doing. And I was looking at it and I was like, man, this room would be perfect. I need to speak to someone about like a lease on here if it's available. And so this woman, she's like, yes, follow me. So I follow her and we go into like this, like, I don't know, it's like a ramp that you walked up, and there was a bunch of like long desks. It kind of reminded me of like an old styled newspaper room, you know, where there's like the long desk and everybody's sitting there writing stuff, because there was people at all these like sections and they were writing stuff. And I was like, okay, this might be weird, we're having a business in there, but you know, we can share spaces. And then she takes me to this like bookend. And it was weird because I was like, you walk through, and then right here, there was like these bookshelves, and there was a bunch of books. And this older, I mean, she was old. This older woman was doing the books, and she was looking through the books like a librarian. And there was this large gate, like a half wall, that was kind of behind her. And the lady that was following me said, okay, walk in. I walked in, and then she grabs this half wall and, you know, starts pulling it in like to close off the section. And I swear that woman that was doing something with the books never even looked, never even turned, nothing. And when she had pulled it all the way in, this woman had like that much space. I mean, it was crazy. And I was like, you know, and she's like, we have to do that. It makes it easier once we get in. And I was like, okay. So we go into this little area, and it was almost like an amusement ride, right? There was like just like a bench, like seats, and just plastic seats, kind of like what you would find in an airport. And she's like, sit down. So I sit down, and she's like, you might want to hold on because some people lurch forward. And I'm like, what? And all of a sudden, it was like one of those carnival rides where it just like swung so fast. And I lurched forward, and I was like nose to nose with this lady in the dream, and like kind of to the side, right? And I was like, and I just was stuck there because it was almost like the gravity was like pulling me into her, and I couldn't pull myself back. I was just stuck. And then all of a sudden, and I was like, I knew at that moment that I was astral projecting. I knew it because it was the exact same feeling that I had with my uncle, and I was aware of this. And I was like, well, am I still in my bed? Like, did I travel? And I actually opened up one eye, you know, as I'm sleeping, I opened up an eye and I could see the ceiling and it was light in the room. And I was like, okay, I'm still in bed. And I closed my eye and I was right back into it, which was insane. But once I closed my eye, all of a sudden, all of this information was just like flooding at me. It was almost like computer hologram things, like, you know, like the Matrix, like the coding that would go across the screen. It was almost like that, but they were like separated into sheets. And I mean, that's exactly what it was. But I mean, it kind of looked almost like, you know, in like medical TV shows when they have that hologram pulled up, you know, the doctors, and they're like, oh, or like the cop shows, and they're like doing stuff on this like fancy screen. I don't even think it exists. I'm not sure, but you know, it's like a hologram screen. I think you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, it was like that, and they were like individual pages, and they were like coming from like all like 3 different directions, and they were just coming so fast, and I could see like what was on it. There was one, you know, it was like mathematical equations and geometrical shapes, like astrological signs, and one of them that just it stands out to me the most, and it's stuck in my head, is the picture where it's like a circle, and then there is a person, a body, in the middle of the circle, you know, arms spread up and legs spread out. Like it's almost like that, I think it's like that medical symbol. I will find a picture and I'll link that as well. I'll put it on here. But that's like that's the one thing that stands out to me the most. And I think it's because it was a picture, but there was like diagrams, and I mean, there was so much information coming in, and I was trying to like grasp something because I knew as it was coming in what it was, and I knew it was of importance, and I wanted to remember like what it was I was receiving, and I tried, and it was just moving too fast. And then, you know, it was done, and I opened my eyes up fully. So anyway, I wanted to share that because that was insane. And I have been trying to go back. I have been picturing and imagining that same room and that same carnival ride contraption thingy that she put me on. And I really feel, I don't know if you've heard of the Akashic Records. Some people explain the Akashic Records as looking like a library. I really do believe that it was the Akashic Records that I was taken into. That woman, the librarian who was going through the books, and then when I get into that room, it was the same thing. You know, it was just a bunch of books on shelves when I sat down that ride. And on that, I'm calling it a ride. On that ride, it was 2 men and a woman. And the woman, it's like I can see her face, but the men were like in suits, and she was also in like kind of, you know, professional looking wear, but it was just insane. And anyway, I've tried to go back, but I'm not recreating it. I guess stuff happens when it's supposed to happen. But so I wanted to share that with you because sometimes when you least expect it, something can happen. And never always take it for what it is. And you know, you might say, oh, well, like, no, I think it's the Akashic Records. I was taken there. It was an astral projection. And people might be listening to this and being like, whatever, like it was a dream. Like you open up your eyes. Like how could you have, like, seriously, how does that work? But you know the truth. You know what it is. And that's all that matters. So, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt sometimes. And you have to just take anything that you are receiving at this time for what it is. I mean, if you're feeling a lot of fatigue, that could be you're receiving a lot of downloads. I mean, you are subconsciously, you are doing stuff in the background that you're not even aware of. Like your higher self is out there getting to work and putting in the work, and you're thinking that nothing is happening. So just remember that something is always going on, something is always happening, and to just do what you can do to smooth the process, to enhance what your higher self, what the universe is trying to do. And you enhance that through meditation and just practicing, just practicing. So I hope you guys got something from the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and I will see you guys later.